Hi everyone! I want to share with you my system of learning any language. In my case, it's my second mother tongue, Polish, that I want to improve, but really it could be any. And this system is working so well for me that I decided to share it because maybe there is someone out there who could really benefit from my method, which really consists of just two components. The first component is what I always carry with me. It's my dictaphone. I got a second-hand Philips voice tracer. It looks like this, but really it could be any. It could be any simple dictaphone. And so why? The question is, why do I need a dictaphone? Well, basically, because whenever I'm in situations looking for the right vocabulary or a sentence or phrase, well, I'm just not having it. I'm missing the right vocabulary. And if I was to just memorize and try to remember that once I'm at home, to please look up that vocabulary, I will probably forget. I just my memory is not good enough. There might be people who are able to remember all these things. I just don't. So my advantage now is whenever I'm in such a situation looking for the right vocabulary, I'm just pulling out my dictaphone, quickly hit here like the red button record, do my recording, and I'm done. And once home with in a quiet situation with time, I I pull out my second component, which is this Google Sheet, and play back my recordings and put them one by one into my spreadsheet, right? So in my case, my source language is German, so that's column A. And I want to translate into my target language, which is my second mother tongue, Polish, that I want to improve. And just to be sure that I'm finding the right translations for what I was missing, I'm using two systems for comparison. The latter one is the widely known Google Translate, and the former one here in column B, Depot, which, by the way, is just amazing. Depot is so good when it comes to translations that normally I just look at column B, but just sometimes I'm just curious, what would Google Translate give me in such a moment? So as you're seeing here, I'm actually sharing my live sheet, the one that I'm using day to day, and it keeps growing. It keeps growing because I'm just finding so many, especially now with my kids. When I'm outdoors with my kids and they just ask me something that back when I was a kid maybe didn't exist or just didn't, enter my vocabulary. I just don't have it. So the list keeps growing and growing and growing, and so instead of having to pull that out and scroll down to continue at line 441, what I did is, I want to do it the other way around. I want to be here at the top, just open my sheet. And well, if I don't have empty rows, well, I just put an X here into A1, which is automatically giving me new rows, right? And in the back end, for those who are curious, it's a Google script that is doing all the magic here. Right. So what did I record, right? So now it's time to pull out my dictaphone, do a playback. Well, you will probably not hear what I'm playing. All right. So in German, it's Sie stehen auf dem Deck des Schiffes. English would be they're standing on the deck of the ship. So that's my what I recorded. So let's enter it here. Sie stehen auf dem Deck des Schiffes. And instantly I'm getting my translations. Stoją na pokładzie statku. And the Google Translate one is different. Stoisz na pokładzie statku. Well, from being sort of half Polish, I do see immediately that the default translation is just more accurate than the Google Translate translation, which is well mostly the case. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing every evening basically when kids are in bed. I come to my sheet, I pull out my dictaphone, play back all the recordings of that day, fill it up. If I need more rows, I just put an X here again, and and keep revisiting what I did on the day before. And if I'm even more curious of what I maybe recorded and tried to remember uh, 2 weeks ago, which would be way down here, and sometimes I just don't want to scroll down that much. What I created was a random sheet, so that's just giving me 10 random entries of my entire vocabulary, and that's just a very good one to practice basically and revisit. You may be asking now, why is it here with an arrow? Why is there an empty row? Well, that's basically because well, we created all these bunch of empty rows that we're just not needing right now. And then the random one looks nicely again. And then lastly, if you want an alphabetical order, yeah, you can also use an ABC tab here, which is starting from A and going down to Z. Um, so you may be asking, and let's come back quickly to the instructions tab. You may be asking, okay, well, you're understanding that dictaphone part, which maybe you're not even needing, but I definitely need my dictaphone. I really couldn't live without that, because if I just had the sheet and would come back home, I would probably, of the, let's say, 20 entries that I wanted to record or remember, I would probably remember me one or two. I'm really bad at sort of revisiting and remembering all the situations that I had when I was missing vocabulary. So that's why I'm really relying on the dictaphone in addition to the sheet. But the real benefits are, the first one, cross-platform. I can use that sheet on a smartphone, on my laptop, on a tablet, because it's just a Google Sheet. I can really open it in, because Android, iOS, Apple iOS, they both have apps for Google Sheet. And if I'm on a laptop, like in this situation, I can just open a web browser and go to Google Sheets. That works. The second one is also a very important one for me, the search function. So very often, actually, I do remember. Look, there was a situation when I was recording something related to a ship, right? Like I had this vocabulary missing, something with a ship, but I may not be entirely sure what it was. So then I can simply press Command F and just keep searching for ship, right? For ship. Right, and in fact, I just recorded it once, right? There was just one occurrence where I was in need of a ship phrase, right? But there might be, let's say mouth, right? Maybe I had some questions about the mouth, right? And in fact, I had four, right? So I just recorded mouth, and then my mouth is hurting, right? Or the second one, and then to take something into your mouth, that was, or put something into your mouth, that was also something that I recorded, or you eating with your mouth, right? That was also something that I wanted to record. So, and that is just showing you how effective a search function, a built-in search function is, right? That's not nothing I had to create. It just, Google Sheet just provides a standard search function. The third one, I already presented the integration with DeepL, which is really strong. I mean, using the DeepL API is just beautiful. I mean, it's so powerful and giving you so accurate translations. If I just had to rely on Google Translate, I would only get half of the story here. So DeepL is really making my improvements. And the last one is really what sums it all up. It's powered by a spreadsheet, which back in the days it was Excel. Now it's all these cloud-based spreadsheet solutions like Google Sheets, and it just, with all that power it has of relying on countless formulas. If you're a spreadsheet geek, you will understand all these ones here. And if you're really a freak, you will you will know how to use the app script component of Google Sheet, and which is what I also used to create some of the functions here in the back end that make all this really work. So yeah, I mean, I'm very excited, as you can hear, about my system, because it really helps me to improve my Polish substantially, which would not be the case if I just had to rely on some of these apps that are out there to learn a language, or no, because I want to fill my system with my vocabulary and not something that Duolingo provides, all these apps, or or even DeepL has an app, right? DeepL has an app which I can then, I can look up a sentence and then even create a favorite of that sentence, to build up a history. But then I was sort of in that need of a search function, which it didn't have. I was missing a synchronization between the app on the phone and my laptop. There was no synchronization. So that's, cross platform, check. Search function, check. Depot, I was needing it, check. Well, the result was a spreadsheet. So if you find all this kind of interesting, or you even say, "Wow, that would really improve, that would really make my day because I want to learn a language." Yeah, well, get in touch with me. I can share you. I can create you a sort of a template, maybe, and which you can then use for your own language, and we yeah, and we just see how that goes. Right? That's it. Thank you for watching, listening, and keep learning your language. Bye.